Frickin' Spriggans of all things. Make sure you guys slam that like button for Spriggans of all things. So this list recently got first place out of its locals, and it was piloted by Joel Sabasa-Baltazar. And when I first got this in my inbox, I was like, Spriggans? Frickin' really? Of all things? I know a lot of people are waiting for the next line of support in Lightning Overdrive. Cloudy Wowdy's been telling me that this deck was going to need a little bit more to get somewhere, but somebody had success with this all frickin' ready. Alright, so like I said, make sure you guys slam that like button so you don't miss out on more excellent content. We're going to go through this. We want to talk about the Spriggan cards and kind of the interactions and things that we have so far with this deck. So, start things off, we have Triple Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This is going to be the hand trap of choice next to our other one over there. Out of what? Just 6 hand traps is going to be enough to hold this down. On a local level, this deck should be able to function, unless you're going through like 85 constant virtual world matchups. But if you get the chance to play against other rogue, this deck's going to get a really nice chance to shine. Now, we do have the Dogmatica package in here, and this is going to be the nice hard carry for this, because you're going to get access to punishment. You're going to get access to our friend Maximus here. Maximus is going to allow you to generate your extra deck resources through the Shadal package. Now, I know a lot of people kind of look at the whole plussing engine from this and go, well, sometimes it's not worth it. Remember, we're playing a strictly rogue package at this point in time, alright, which means that the entire interactions for this deck are going to be through Maximus here. Now, we do have some other cool little interactions with our friend Maximus here. So we have the Sprint, the Iron Dash Dragon. So it's Fall of Albaz plus an effect monster. Never going to happen. Special summon this turn. Special summon this turn. So during your main phase, you move this card you control to another main monster zone, destroy all blah blah blah. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon one Spriggan's monster or Fallen of Albaz. Now, does this feel reminiscent of Titanclad? Because it's exactly what this is. All right, this is going to be our Titanclad for this engine for us to generate advantage off of Maximus. So, our nice little package for the monsters is the 2 Ecclesia, the 1 Flora, and the 1 Maximus. Now, our other hand trap of choice is, but of course, the Gamma machine. We're going to use the Gamma and the driver to isolate the opponent and take full advantage of the situation. That way we can play the game. Haha, don't stop our effects. Now, we have 2 Spriggans Brenganda. So if this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target 1 Spriggan Exceed monster you control. Attach this card to it as material. You can banish this card and 1 Spriggan monster with a different name from your graveyard to add 1 Spriggan's card from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Spriggans Brenganda once per turn. So this is going to allow us to get an extra material loaded up on our monster, and we can banish it from the graveyard and something else to Rhoda for whatever piece that we're going to want for our deck. That is very, very good for what we want here. Now, we have 2 copies of Spriggan's Captain Sargas. So if this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target a Spriggan Exceed monster you control, attach this card to it as material. So it's really nice that we're going to be able to constantly load things up on our X-Blower here. Alright, so during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you detach 1 material from an Exceed monster you control, target 1 face-up card in the field, and destroy it. Alright, then you can only use each of the previous effects of Spriggan's Captain Sargas once per turn. A Spriggan Exceed monster that has this card as a material attached to it is going to get a 500 boost. So our X-Blower is going to be 2100. Alright, we got 2 of them under there. It's 2600. Alright. We have triple copies of Spriggan's Pedor. So you can tribute this card, target 1 Spriggan monster in your graveyard except for Pedor, and special summon it. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target 1 Spriggan's Exceed monster you control, attach this card to it as material. I'm loving this whole load up the big monsters onto the super big Exceed monster, alright? Then we have 2 copies of Spriggan's Rocky. So if this card is no more special summon, we can target a Spriggan's monster or Vast Desert Gondola in our graveyard, except for Rocky, and add it to our hand. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you target a Spriggan Exceed monster and attach this to it as material. So we get to load back on up, once again, more of those materials. Now, we have 1 Foolish Burial and then 2 Foolish Burial goods. This is going to dump our key resources here. Now, this is where we start getting into the fun stuff. Great Sand Sea Gold Godolia. All Spriggan Exceed monsters on the field are going to gain 1,000 attack. Alright, so our big ship is going to get bigger. You can only use each of the following effects of Great Sand Sea Gold Gondola once per turn. So if you control no Spriggan Exceed monsters, you can discard 1 Spriggan's card, special 1 Spriggan Exceed monster from your deck or extra deck. So that's it. Alright, we don't have to actually make X-Blower. Alright, we can just discard a card and bring that bad boy on out, as long as we don't control one. Alright, easy enough. If a face of Exceed monster you control leaves the field by card effect, except during damage step, target 1 card your opponent controls and cannot attack for the rest of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Just the fact that we get access to our monster so easily is really good. We have triple copies of Nadir Servant. 2,500 attack points, by the way, so we can just eat this, get our search. You know, pretty good. Then we have 2 triple copies of Spriggan's Watch. So this is going to add the Grand Sea from our deck to our hand. If the Great Sand Sea is already in our field zone, you can apply this effect instead. We can add a Spriggan monster from our deck to our hand. If you do, we can send 1 Spriggan monster from our deck to the graveyard. Alright, that's actually really good. That's going to get us extra materials for our big guy here. Now, we have 1 Terraforming, 2 copies of Trade-In, 2 copies of Punishment. Of course, the entire deck's going to rotate around Schism as well, because Wind is really good. And then we play 1 copy of Spriggan's Blast. If you control a Spriggan's monster, choose one of your opponent's main monster zones. If a monster is face up in that zone, during this turn, it cannot attack directly. Also, its effects are negated. If no monsters in that zone, it cannot be used this turn. If you control a fusion monster list Fallen of Albaz, you can choose 2 zones instead. That doesn't really matter all that much. The cool thing with this is you're going to get to either blink a zone or globally negate something in a zone. Alright, so pick your poison, whichever one you want to apply is really good. Now, we have 1 Spriggan's Call. So we can target 1 Spriggan's monster, Fallen Albaz monster, graveyard, special summon it. During the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, we can banish the card and 1 fusion monster from your graveyard. Target 1 Spriggan Exceed monster we control. Attach 1 fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material from your extra deck to that monster. So if all goes well, we can drop off Titanclad or our friend here and then load it up as a material onto our big ship. Now you're probably wondering at this point in the video, why are we doing all this? So we have X-Blower here, the Spriggan's ship. So it's 2+ level 8 monsters to make this. You can choose one of your opponent's monster zones or spell and trap card zones. Alright, detach any number of materials from this card, and if you do, destroy the same number of cards your opponent controls in that chosen monster or in that chosen zone and its adjacent zones and or spell and trap card zones. Alright? Very, very important here. You get global board wipes with this. During your opponent's main or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card until the end phase. You can only use each effect of Spriggan's ship X-Blower once per turn. So the big important part with the Spriggans having the attach effects to this is when you warp the ship out for the quick effect, it's going to lose all of its materials. So when it warps back in and it goes back to your turn, you're going to get the chance to reload back up all of these cards back onto it so that you can start attempting to play the game again, which is really cool actually. Now, that being said, of course we have to play the 1 Zeus because, you know, gimmicks. We have 1 copy of Dingrisu, 1 Omega, 2 copies of Titanclad, 2 copies of the Sprint, the Iron Dash Dragon, 2 copies of Anintus, 1 copy of Winda, 1 Construct, and 1 App Cologne. And then side deck here, we have 2 copies of Alpha, triple copies of Lancia, 2 Ghost Bell, 2 copies of Mirador, triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Feather Duster, and 2 copies of the Triple Tactics Talent, wrapping up the first real Spriggan deck that I have seen get the chance to do anything, at least on a local level at this point in time. So make sure you guys slam that like button so you don't miss out on more excellent content, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later on in the day for some more cool, awesome content. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Peace out. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCole40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCole40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcolegames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.